Martin, and KERS first of all.
Kinetic energy recovery system. In the braking phase, they have a thing called a motor generator unit that harvests energy, puts it into a battery, the equivalent of 80 horsepower that the driver can use for 6.7 seconds per lap. When he hits the button, the energy is reintroduced into the powertrain, and that's another 10% power with no extra weight.
What's particularly interesting is how we've seen drivers using KERS and DRS together tactically, and this one from Silverstone, Alonso and Hamilton.
Yes, they're going to finesse this a lot in 2012 as well, because it became very clear that KERS and DRS together could be used in attack or defence. Alonso catching Hamilton, he's in the DRS zone now, and they both use their KERS energy down the back straight. Alonso for longer, and he's got the rear wing open. It's an easy pass on this occasion. I'd rather defend DRS than boring races though, Ted.
Yeah, I suppose I see your point there. Well, let's talk about something that might end up with some drivers in the steward's office, and that's some changes to the sporting regulations regarding driving standards, gentlemanly driving. Do we have that in F1?
Very much driven by the events of Monza last year. Michael Schumacher defending hard against Lewis Hamilton in the second chicane, down to the first Lesmo corner. Schumacher goes to the inside and then moves straight back to the racing line. Not allowed to do that in 2012. You must leave a car's width. But is it a car's width plus a sheet of A4? Yeah. And that's going to be the controversy this year, Ted.
He does this later.
Rule 20.4 makes it very clear, and it was there last year, you cannot run another driver off the road.
Yeah, 2 incidents involving Schumacher there. So, but then talking about running a driver off the road, how much space do you give him and how much space does he take himself? This is Alonso and Vettel.
It's like being on the motorway and a car comes into the middle lane. You think, is it going to keep going into the fast lane? And Vettel driving off the road, you could argue that he was left a car's width there, but at 220 miles an hour just kept his foot in on the grass. Yeah. Mightily impressive.
Yeah, OK, I can see some arguments about those ones. Now, talking of arguments, there seems to be some controversy over some of the technical developments that we've been talking about all throughout the show, and these are some shots that we've got hot off the press from testing in Barcelona. This was the last day, Martin, when Red Bull introduced their new exhaust system and back end, and I mean, this is the most developed of any back end in the field, no question about it.
Well, that's what you'd expect from Adrian Newey. Last year they found a second per lap using the exhaust gases, especially when the driver was off the throttle even. That's been taken away for 2012, but they can't forget what they've learned. They're still trying to use those gases, a thing called the Coanda effect. When you jump in the shower and the shower curtain comes around your body, that's what that is, and they're using that effect to turn the gases and try to energise this lower rear beam of the wing or the foot of the under tray to gains probably 20-25% of that energy back.
What I'm interested in is how they're using this area around the hub to actually put some wings in and get downforce. It's a very efficient way of getting downforce because it's downforce straight at the wheel. But if we have a look at these winglets, totally legal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 winglets. They're using exhaust gas there to make downforce.
Yes, it's very clear what the regulations are as to what is, say, a brake duct or an aerodynamic device, and some interesting interpretations on that. We're going to see thousands of iterations from the teams through this season. The good news is we can see these areas very clearly. And if
we can on these shots, because they've got a massive lens on them.
Yeah, and if somebody does find a big advantage, the other teams can change their bodywork and copy it.
Yeah, I can see some teams having a look at these shots as we broadcast them. But lots of questions we've had about this slot in the Red Bull nose cone. And Adrian Newey says it's for driver cooling, but we think it's to keep the airflow attached over the top of the car.
Well, it looks like a little letterbox. I was told just last night that you can put your hand in there and tickle the driver's toes. Don't believe it at all, because it just fill up with water on during a wet race. Surely they're going to be using that air to energise other parts of the car, and it'll be very interesting to see what Red Bull can achieve with that. The only team to do so.
Well, the only team to do so far. Simon, who knows, when we get to Australia, that might already be copied by somebody else.
Yeah.
So, Webber chasing his teammate Vettel most of last season. This season, though, Ant, can he mount a serious title challenge?
Well, I think he can, but he's got to have more moments like he had in Spa here last year, where he really showed what he's capable of. On the run down to the infamous Eau Rouge corner that's taken at 180 miles an hour, he pounced on Fernando Alonso, who exits the pits, and Mark Webber moves to the left-hand side, surprising the Spaniard into the corner, muscles him out the way, onto the dirty line, and gets the job done nice and fast.
Bearing in mind that Eau Rouge isn't a typical overtaking spot or an overtaking corner, how bold was that from Mark Webber?
Yeah, it's not really your normal overtaking spot on the circuit, and it's very rare to see two cars head into there side by side, let alone one overtaking one another. So I think it really goes a long way to show Webber's bravery and skill behind the wheel. But if we go and have a look at the onboard clip we've got here as well, we'll play it slow-mo and get a much better idea of the detail that went into this move. Here you can see the blue light warning Alonso as he comes out of the pits that there's an approaching car. And as Webber catches up to Alonso, he moves over to the left-hand side, trying to block his line and halt his progress. If you look on here, Webber's dash, he's still shifting up through the gears, and at that moment decides to shift to the left-hand side as Alonso veers more towards the right and taking the traditional line into the corner itself. Now, if we just play this on just a little bit more, you'll get to see Alonso, seeing him coming up even further, gets ever so close to trying to stop him. He's intimidating Mark at this point to try and make him back out of this manoeuvre.
So they're just inches apart. What goes through a driver's mind when that's taking place?
Well, you can see by Webber's body language, he's already turning into the corner, the elbows are tucked in, and he's just thinking, if you come over any more, mate, I'm going to run out of track. And we're travelling at 180 miles an hour into this flat-out corner. So as it plays on, obviously Alonso realises he can't do it anymore, he can't hang around the outside, it's Webber's corner, and the job was done. But it was so close, and one of the best moves you'll ever see in Formula One. If we just play it back now at full speed, you'll really appreciate what went into it and how Webber saw it unfold. And I think if he can do more of this kind of thing this season, surely he's got to be more than just a threat to his teammate.